Well, good morning, Ocoee region. This is Toni Miles with the Hidden Gems of the Ocoee region, a segment of the Good Morning Show with Jay and Jay.
Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
This is the third Friday.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. May is moving.
Yes,
Moving,
it's all
moving,
flying.
moving. It's flying by. Well, I am excited, and I say this every time, but I am really excited because I have a special guest this morning who, one of the first people I met when I would come here for conferences, over with Judy Jacobs and Pastor Judy and Pastor Jamie, and was one of the first people I met here in this area. And she is an awesome person, awesome mom and wife, and there is a little history here that I don't think people know about, and that's why I consider her a hidden gem. She is the founding director of Casa Corridor, East Tennessee. And her name is Frances Witt McMahon. So I always have to slow roll that last name. So without further ado, I want the Ocoee region to meet my friend, my sister, Miss Frances. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come. And I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm happy to share.
Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things.
Okay.
But before we get into Casa,
All right.
okay, I want you to just tell Ocoee region more about who you are. You can share your assignment, you can share your God-given assignment, you can share your vision or whatever.
Okay.
But first of all, tell us about Frances.
All right. Well, I always have to start with my children and my husband because they are a big part of who I am. I have two daughters, Taylor and Haley, and Taylor is a recent graduate from Vanderbilt University.
Yay, yay.
And Haley is a freshman at McMinn County High School, and they're both pretty awesome. My husband, Larry, and I affectionately call him Dobie.
Yes.
So if I ever mention Dobie, that's what I'm talking about. We live in Athens, Tennessee, and have been there with my family pretty much all my life. So that is the history of my little family. But I'm just a person who loves to work with other people. Sometimes I'm a giver to a fault,
Yes.
but I don't know how else to be. I want to consider myself a champion of the underdog. If I see someone who needs help, I want to try to do that. Sometimes I don't know if they need help or not. I just want to be a part of what's going on with other people and try to help and get to know people. I'm a people person. I love to be around different people and share myself with them and help them to be somebody that they would like to be. A lot of times, people need to be drawn out of themselves and realize different things that they can do. And I like to observe for a little while and watch, and I ask a lot of questions. My children tell me all the time that I ask too many questions, but I feel like that's a way for me to get to know and find out ways that I can plug in and impart something to other people. I've been with Casa, as you said, I started it in 2007, and we have been moving and working, and it's been really exciting. I have to say that because that's a lot of who I am as well.
Yes.
I feel very married
Yes.
to the organization, not just locally, but nationally. I have a lot of friends, and as you know, I love the Lord.
Yes.
Definitely it's by His grace that I get to be here. I don't want to go into a whole lot of history, but I was
Give a little
once,
tad
yeah,
of your testimony.
yes,
Come on.
I was a throwaway. Went through. I was in high school, really good student. Went to college, came home, and went through a lot of adversity. Probably self-inflicted things, just hard-headedness, stubbornness, and I got involved in a lot of activity that could have taken me down a very dangerous road. And because of that, I developed some illnesses, and I'll share more about the illnesses because I know that God saved me out of things. I'd gotten sick one time, and I couldn't breathe, and lay down at night, and I couldn't lay down comfortably because I felt like I was drowning, and I would get up. I went to the ER 3 or 4 times in a week, and they sent me home with an inhaler for asthma. And I would, puff on the inhaler, still sick. I just still couldn't breathe. And so one Sunday, my daughter and I had gone to church with my mom. And at the time, I only had the one child. And my husband's nephew had come by because he wanted to eat, and he just hung out all that day. And I just know that God sent him there because no one else was with us at the time. And I cooked dinner and sent my daughter back to lay down, and I told my nephew, I said, I think I want to go back to the ER. I don't feel good. And he drove me down. I said, you drop me off, go back and stay with Taylor. And he did that, and 3-4 days later, I wake up and I'm in ICU. I don't remember anything after getting in there, but I remember waking up hearing the doctor talking to my family, and he was asking them questions. When did she have the other heart attacks? And they said she's never had any heart attacks. He said, yes, she has. She's had about 7. And I never knew I had heart attacks, but I had gone into congestive heart failure. And he woke me up from that, saved me out of that. I do believe that had I not gone that day, that I would not be here. But the fact that God saved me those 7 times, and I don't know what happened, why I could not know that I had the heart attacks, but that started me on a different journey in my life because I knew that for Him to save me through something like that He had to work for me.
Yes.
And I had always known that, but I had not always lived it. And so I began to seek Him. And it wasn't long after that I saw Judy Jacobs on television. And she was ministering, and she ministered to me. Right there, I felt like she was talking directly to me when she spoke into the television. And so I've been moving kind of swiftly since then, and really excited, and that is what has given me the desire to do for other people and to help other people. We don't ever know when someone needs just someone to encourage them. And I had gone through a long period of my life during that time where I didn't feel encouraged. I didn't feel that I had the embrace of other people to come around me. And it's so remarkable to me that since that time, I have been involved with some of the most important people in my 3 counties, people that I never thought I would ever know, and they have embraced me and supported me and done things that you just don't do for people.
Yeah.
And it's just a God thing. We have the most support from local individuals through Casa that it just amazes me that people can be so generous. And I look back and God says sometimes, you have done the same. I may not have the resources to give on the level that have been given to our organization, but I give according to what God has given to me.
Yes.
And I believe that's so important. And I don't know that people really understand. You know, we're so busy trying to hold on to everything we have because we feel like it's ours. And I've learned to release things and more comes back. And you don't do it for that reason.
No.
But it always works.
But that's the principle of it.
That is.
And what people fail to realize is not the amount, it is the sacrifice.
Exactly.
Whatever it is for you, that is what God looks at.
Yes.
And so this is awesome. You mentioned Casa, so I'm going to go right there because this is what I want people to know, and this is what I think is a hidden gem, because what I know of this story is that your heart for children, giving them a voice for those children, giving them advocates, was such a burden on you that you connected with this organization because it's a national organization.
Yes.
We did not have a Casa
Nope.
in this region. And you took your personal time and your personal money, you won't say that, but I can, and started Casa Quarter of East Tennessee.
Yes.
And I'm going to say this because I think some people need to hear this that are starting nonprofits and all of that. It was several years before you got a paycheck.
Yes.
Okay? She won't tell that, but I'm going to tell it. And I hear all these nonprofits blowing up and people, and then you see the budget and the line item is the salary to the person that's going to run. No. You just created yourself a job.
That's it.
That's all that is. So I'm going to quit preaching. Back to you. That's my little pet peeve. But that is, I really want people to understand that. And no offense to the Casa of Bradley County, because it first reported into you.
Yes.
So let's say that. And so you had Bradley County, you had McMinn County, and what are the other
The other two are Meigs County and Ray County.
Okay.
And what we did, we started, I actually worked along a guardian ad litem, and that is an attorney who speaks for children in the juvenile courts. She and I had graduated. Her name is Irene Higginbotham. But
okay.
she graduated from high school with me, and I just happened to be in the courthouse with my nephew who had gotten himself into some trouble, and I was there trying to, talk to an attorney and
Right.
someone to try to help get him settled and situated. And Irene stopped me in the hallway of the courthouse, and we had not seen each other since 1979. Now, this was in 2006.
Okay.
And she said, Francis, Whit, so we started talking, and she said, so what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm actually finishing my master's next week. I'm going to, she asked me what's the master's in, and I told her that, and she says, well, what are you doing in the courthouse today? And I told her that, and the next thing, she says, well, there's this organization that you should check into. It's called Casa. And I went by her office the next day. We contacted the state office that day, and it never stopped. But when I first started the program, we started with McMinn, Meigs, and Ray County. And about a year after we were operating in those counties and serving children, I got a call from Suzanne Wisdom, who was living in Bradley County at the time. And she wanted to know if I would be interested in getting a program started in Bradley County. And we came down and met with Suzanne and the Judge Swafford. And I hired her about a week later to work for me. And we had already had resources that were available to help keep this program going. And after about 2 years, we set them free to be their own nonprofit organization. Trying to run through, 4 counties was very, very challenging. We did not have the staff, and of course, being that new, we were still trying to, receive funding and do awareness and all those things. And I wanted to focus on the 3 counties that I started with. And I felt like her relationship with this judge was okay, that they could do it on their own. And they have done well and thrived. They have a new director here right now who
Yes.
is about to leave himself.
That's what I heard.
Yes, yes.
Just
But he
like-
has done a remarkable job
Yes.
with this program. It is in the best shape that I think that it's been in
Yeah.
since it started in 2008. And our program down in McMinn, Meigs, and Ray County is one of the best, as far as I'm concerned, in the state. We have been fortunate to receive support locally, but we also have a lot of federal and state
State support.
funding that we've been very fortunate to have. In 10 years, we've served about 1,342 children
Love it.
in our program, and that means that 1,342 children's lives are stable and much better. Some of those probably are grown now, maybe have children of their own. As a matter of fact, one that I know of comes to mind, a young lady who actually was one of the first that we served, and she was 13, 14. We still see her, run into her every now and then, and she does have a daughter of her own. And so it's really exciting for me to look back and see what their lives could have been and what they have become because they had someone, a consistent caring adult is what children need. That makes all the difference in the world when you have somebody who's going to be there for you. A lot of children that are in foster care, especially if they age out, will not have the basic training to just go out and even know to go look for a job or to be prepared to go get their driver's license on time, and so that hinders them from good growth and having positive outcomes. So we advocate not only for them to be moved out of abusive homes, but we advocate for them to also have good life skills so that they can move forward in life. And that has been one of the most exciting things, is to see a 13-year-old who has experienced some really hard times get their lives turned around and be able to do a college application and go to school and graduate and and work and be rid of the cycle of abuse or neglect that they've had to live through. So that is one of the things that I really care about, and one of the reasons that I was drawn to do this work. I had an older cousin who took in foster children, and I spent a lot of time with her. And I heard their stories, and I saw the things that they went through, and it would seem like she would get them, and they would start doing well, and then the courts would send them back home. This was before there was a Casa. And one child in particular went back home, and every time she went back home, mom would get a new boyfriend, and he would abuse her again.
Yeah.
And so they'd send her back to to my cousin in the foster home, but her life was turned upside down, and it happened so many times for her that even today she still struggles and is not living the life that one of us would want for her. And so my heart was burdened because of that. And all of my family are pretty much the same way. We just want to help people. If we see, riding down the street, you see a dog on the side of the road, I'm probably going to stop and find it a home. But that's just who we are, and I thank my parents for that.
I love the work of Casa, and I know not only is funding important to you, but volunteers
Yes, most definitely.
are important to you. So I think it would be really great if you could share with our listening audience what the life of a volunteer of Casa looks like and feels like.
Well, first of all, our advocates have to do a 30-hour workshop, and we spread that over a 6-week period. We generally do about 4 trainings a year. they are also required to do 2 courtroom observations. Once they've gone through all of the screening, we do very meticulous background screening and an application, a very rigorous application process. Once that is completed and they finish their training, they are sworn in by the judge, and they are basically an official of the court. When they receive an order to serve a child, they have all the privileges of any Department of Children's Services worker. They are able to go in, review school records, doctor's records, any kind of mental health providers that they may have been involved with, but they investigate the situation of that child's life. They go in and talk to family members and any school teachers, whoever might be able to give them information that would help them to make an unbiased recommendation to the judge as to the placement of that child. Sometimes they're reunified with their birth family. Sometimes they're given to legal guardianship to maybe a relative placement. And then sometimes we request them to stay in foster care, whatever is in the best interest of that child. Generally, an advocate will stay with us about 18 months. I was looking at our numbers. And some will take a break and come back. Some, after the first case or two, they can't do anymore. It can be really burdensome.
Yeah.
And the stress sometimes can be hard, but for the people who are really called to do this, they stay. I have advocates who have been with me for the whole 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's really good too.
Okay. That is so awesome. If you feel the need, are you called to children, being an advocate for children, please contact Francis at Casa Quarter, East Tennessee, especially in McMinn, Meigs, and Ray counties.
Yes.
And because like any nonprofit, you always in need of volunteers.
That's right.
So you should pick up that telephone and call her office today. Before we go back to funding, because we got to talk about time, talent, and treasure. And although you do receive some state and federal support, you still have to fundraise.
Definitely, yes.
And you have a signature event that is done every year called the Red Shoe Gala.
Yes.
So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the gala. Okay?
No.
All right. So we'll be right back with Hidden Gems of Ocoee Region.
My passion is outdoors, but my knees reached a point where I just couldn't enjoy it as well. So I had knee replacement surgery at Tonova. My experience was excellent. My new knees are great. They work well, I have no pain, and I'm able to do all the things that I enjoy.
If joint pain is affecting your life, find out how Tonova can help. Come to a free joint pain seminar. Register today at tonovaortho.com.
What does the face of need look like? In so many ways, it looks like you and me. The Care in Place mission is to model the love of Christ by addressing basic spiritual, physical, and social needs of people in Bradley County, Tennessee. And the most important gift we distribute is love. Won't you help us to help our neighbors? Pray, give, volunteer.
Do you pay monthly service charge at your bank just to have a checking account? Are you tired of the stress of maintaining a monthly minimum balance? Want to talk face-to-face with a local banker about the options available to you? If you answered yes, then it's time to contact the financial professionals at Andrew Johnson Bank and talk to them about their sky-high checking accounts. Meeting these requirements opens the door for great interest rates. Sky High Checking gives you more so you can soar. Andrew Johnson Bank, the local lender you need, the local bank you can trust.
My name is Bill Kyle, owner of Kyle Motors. Our location is 802 20th Street Southeast, next door to Blythebauer School. We have a lot of cars for $5,000, $6,000. If you're looking for that price vehicle, come on in. We have all price vehicles, and our down payments start at $500. My name is Bill Kyle. We look forward to doing business with you.
How roomy is Corolla's interior? Bigger than you'd think. Way bigger!
I'm Jim Logan. I'm the president of Logan Thompson. We're pleased to represent people from Upper East Tennessee to the banks of the Mississippi River. But our focus is right here in Southeast Tennessee. Logan Thompson, we're right here on the Courthouse Square. Telephone number 476-2251. Whatever you need, we are here to serve you. It's Logan Thompson, a tradition of legal and community service.
The Cleveland Housing Authority's mission is to provide affordable, safe, and sanitary housing opportunities. Visit www.clevelandhousingauthority.com or call us 423-479-9659.
Good morning. Thank you and welcome back to Hidden Gems of Ocoee Region. And we are talking with my friend, my sister, Frances Witt Mahan. I knew I was going to mess it up sooner or later. They're laughing at me in here. Y'all get them. They should not be laughing at me.
I'm just glad you're saying it.
I know. Yeah. Well, I'll say this to anybody. If you think you can do better, come on here and do it live, okay? But anyway, she is here, and we've been talking about Casa of East Tennessee and the awesome work they do, being advocates for young children here, as well as older children, here in the court system, as well as when they are being placed back with their birth parents and or foster care. And so this is an awesome ministry. And so if you have a heart or a burden to help children and to impact lives for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
This is a great ministry to be involved with. Well, we left on saying that we would be right back, talk about the signature event that you do every year that's called the Red Shoe Gala. I love saying it that way, Gala. So tell us about it.
Okay, well, first of all, the concept for the Red Shoe came out of The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
If you can remember Dorothy, at the end of the story, she clicks her red heels together so she can go home. And so that is why we have named it the Red Shoe Gala. And I'm regrettably cannot say that my program was the first to do this. I borrowed the idea from another CASA program in Northeast Tennessee. And they have made this thing perfect. This program actually raises well over $100,000 a year doing the gala. And we have seen a steady increase in ours. But the reason that we have to fundraise, first of all, is we have to raise some non-restricted funding. There are some things that grants just don't pay for.
There you go.
And so, you know, a lot of people think, well, if you're getting all this money in grants, why are you asking us for money? We have to do things that are outside of what a grant is. They're very important pieces of our organization. We can get money to pay rent. We can get money to recruit and train advocates. We can even receive money to help with insurance. But most grants don't want to pay salaries.
Nope, they don't.
There are other things that they don't pay for. And so in order for us to continue the program and to be able to serve children and to provide, you know, good services for the employees that go out and
Yes.
do this work every day, then we do the fundraiser. Our gala, if anyone is interested, it is such a fun night. We do a contest. We have a
Yes.
red shoe contest. And
You gonna
there's
put those
judged
pictures up?
in 4
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
categories.
ready now?
Yeah,
The
okay.
one category is the funniest shoe or the most hilarious shoe.
see
We
if
have
this
the GQ shoe, which is usually a man's shoe, the most fabulous shoe, and the most glamorous shoe.
Yes.
And if you see all the men's shoes there, it's really
Yeah.
exciting. And the first year or so, we did not have people, or we didn't have men to get involved. But now we're seeing more and more men purchase their red shoes and come out and have a good time. We used to have a band. Sometimes we'll have a DJ. The food is excellent. Ambiance Catering does our design and
Yes.
caters our meal. We will be having it this year on September 29th.
Yes, it's coming up.
There's your
Yeah,
party
that-
there,
they
right?
jamming
Yeah.
there.
Having a really good time.
Yeah, they
and
are.
so we're really excited about.
Is that the one I came to?
I believe you were sitting in the front somewhere on
Yeah,
that one. Yes.
yep.
So we really have a really good time, and it has taken off in a really large direction for other Casa programs. And we all do it a different way.
Yeah.
We have one program that does cowboy boots, and they're
Okay.
red. And
Right.
so, you know, you can make it whatever you want it to be. We have a silent auction and a live auction. It's just a fun night. So save the date for the Casa Quarter Red Shoe Gala, September 29th.
Okay, coming up.
2017.
It's coming up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is one of the ways that we raise money to be able to do those things that our grants won't provide funding for.
And I just real quickly want to say that because most people don't know that, and that's why most nonprofit organizations do fundraisers. They are raising unrestricted dollars. Being a employee of or ministering with a local nonprofit here, and being the person that is charged with raising funds, that is, and people that know me, I'm always constantly talking about unrestricted dollars. You know, for us, when the freezer break down, I can have money to buy food.
Right.
Okay? But when the freezer break down, I have no money to repair the freezer. Therefore, then my food will spoil.
Exactly.
And it doesn't make sense. But that is the life we live
Yes.
in the nonprofit world. So yes, that's why you have all these galas, and that's why you have all these banquets and all of that, because we're having to raise the funds. You know, grants and things cover programs, but they don't cover salaries. And they don't cover some of the maintenance things,
Right.
ongoing maintenance things that an organization may be required to cover to keep their program moving forward.
That's right.
So just glad you said that.
And those are the things that people don't realize, and that makes it hard to to raise money
Yeah.
locally, because people feel, especially when you get these announcements in the newspaper that you've received this large grant. And so I guess all of the businesses say, oh, I'm so glad they got that money. I don't have to give
tap
this
'em.
year.
They're good now.
Oh yeah, they good
Yeah.
now.
Forget about 'em.
Well, that's even like a lot of times, even when you receive some United Way money, and people think, "Oh, are you a member of United
Right.
Way?" And they think you're getting all this money,
Yeah.
and that's not true. Because even a lot of those dollars are restricted.
There definitely are.
And so,
Yes.
and nothing, no offense with
United
United
Way,
Way, because
right.
I love them.
Oh, definitely.
They are our best friends.
They are definitely our best friends, and with our United Way funding, it is strictly for recruiting and training advocates.
Right.
And that is what we do.
That's all you can spend it on. So, yeah, but it's good for the community to understand the operation of funding with nonprofits. And so, because I remember even one time at the Caring Place, we had X amount of dollars sitting in our food account, and we were coming up on a period where we were going to be short on payroll, but could
wow.
not move that money.
Oh, like, yeah.
Yeah, over to say, okay, what are we going to do? But God is faithful. And we received a donation right on time.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
Right on time. He will take care of those that are doing his work
Yes, he does.
in the marketplace. He will.
Yes, he
And
does.
so he came through right on time. And we haven't felt that shortfall in a long time. But we almost experienced a shortfall. And it was just crazy to see that money sitting in the food account that we
And you couldn't
touch.
use it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't understand that either.
Yep. And which also says to our organization and to yours that we are good stewards and we follow exactly. You can trust what
we
you
do.
give to Casa. That's where that money is going.
You're exactly right.
Okay.
And that's really important
Yeah.
to share. We often, and because we are, 90% of our funding is from grants, I can't save that money into the next year.
No.
It has to be used
It has to be
for the
spent.
purpose which it's outlaid in the budget, and it also has to be used in the year that the grant funding is received. And so, we're always scrambling to try to have a reserve account, and it's very difficult to do that when you're strictly grant funded. When most of your funding comes from another source or agency, you can't save it.
No, you can't.
You can't set it aside for a rainy day. It has to be used.
Well, I'm going to say this to the hidden gem following that we have and to the Ocoee region, individuals, and I'm speaking to the individuals, that is why it would be great for you to donate to Casa Corda of East Tennessee. Individual funding, unrestricted. That way they can start building a reserve fund because it never fails. You do hit seasons. And when you don't have a reserve fund, that makes it very hard.
It does.
And so if you really are burdened for children and the work that Frances and her team does, give individually to this organization so that this great work will continue. And have an opportunity for the people who are carrying this burden so that this organization can do what is do right by them, and from time to time give them a bonus. I'm just going to say that
I
because
love that sound.
most people that are in this is ministry.
It is. It is.
And so they are usually paid sometimes not even enough. So if they don't have a spouse who can pick up the other part or whatever, it's a struggle.
It is a struggle.
But they are called to this. And so they are faithful. And one thing I can say is that God also provides. But I know he speaks to people. And sometimes we answer in the affirmative and sometimes we don't. But so I'm speaking to those that have a burden for this mission for this cause to make a donation.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetie. What I want to transition right now, it's before we end, because we're coming up on our closing out this segment. And I just want you to, I know you mentioned that you love helping people. And I would say that I have been on the other end of your help. When I moved here 4 years ago, you were bound and determined to make it easy for me to stay here. And so you seeded into my ministry. And I can also say that when I was helping to put together a 501c3 for special, another special thing on my heart, which is everyone should have access to health, DPCI Life Clinic is in existence today. The 501c3 that it stands on today is because of you and your help.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to just say that right now. So why don't you just, and I'm not, I don't want everybody calling you up talking about, hey, I need some help, okay? But just want to go out because I think this is something that we all should be doing. Mm-hmm. And I just want you to share with the audience why it's important to give and give into others, give value into others so that they can realize their dreams.
Well, and one of the things that I've learned is when I give to you, it's more for me than it is for you. I get a sense of fulfillment in seeing someone else productive and helping them, seeing them move forward. And so, they say if I might give you money to eat on today, but if I find a way for you to be able to make your own money, then you're going to be able to go and help someone else. And I think there's a verse that says one will put 1,000 to flight and two will put 10,000. And so, it's just a chain reaction. When we help someone, and if they follow that, then more people are going to be independent and able to go forward and do other things. But one of the ways that I've learned to help people, I do most services for nothing. If someone has a student or a child that needs their financial aid completed, I'll do those things and keep up with them and follow them along and make sure they're staying in school if that be the case. And I've helped a number of people get started with a nonprofit, filing their paperwork and walking them through the steps and really counseling with them. Yep. If I feel like their mission is not something that I would support, then I'm not going to do that paperwork for you. And the problem is I haven't figured out the right and subtle way to tell them no, because that's kind of difficult to say, hey, your stuff is no good. I'm not going to be part of that.
You need a prophet to come in and speak on that. Because they usually have a personality for that.
That sounds good. But you have so many people that say, oh, I like what you're doing. How did you get started? And I said, well, I did the paperwork. I didn't actually complete the paperwork for Casa's nonprofit, but I worked alongside someone who did, and then I went back to school to take coursework so that I could do this. And this is something that means a lot to me. I'm actually going to meet with someone when I go back to Athens today who is getting a nonprofit started, and I think he's going to do really, really well. This is a guy who was in prison. He came out and he has done such an excellent job over the last couple of years, doing whatever he could to make it. And so he's been working with youth and with the elderly, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do. He's done this for 2 years without a dime, just.
But
by
that
the-
tells you something
that
right
does,
there.
and that's what I've been watching. He
Yeah.
asked me 2 years ago to help him, and I thought, well, I'm gonna see what you do over the next. So I'm excited to be part of it, and just to help people do things that are gonna keep growing, and keep serving. And if we can serve people, I think we're serving God, making Him happy, and that's what I like to see people do.
Well, Francis, I just want to thank you for being here. You are a hidden gem in this region. I hope after today you will no longer be a hidden gem. You give back so much to this community, and I applaud you today.
Thank you so much.
And you do it with such humility. You never blow your own horn. That's why I felt like today I had to sort of blow that horn for you, because you won't do it. But we thank you for being in this community. We thank you for being an advocate for our precious, precious cargo, which are our children. And we thank you for your heart to help those people who are about the Father's business. And this show has been very special to me, Ocoee region, to help Francis here and to be here today with J&J. And I will be back in the first Friday in June with another special hidden gem that I'm not going to tell you about right now, but I will be talking a few days before the next show, just giving you all a little tease about who's coming on. And so with that, happy Friday to J&J. Have a beautiful weekend.
You too.
And we're going to continue after this with the Good Morning Show. So you all stay tuned. The fellas will be right back.